At this point, they think they're safe. I think the house will hold. But then, the front room barricade window breaks, where animated Bree. Bree does return in this, but as a walker. But she doesn't last very long because Lee uses the cleavage right on the head of Bree. At this point, Lee and Kenny barricade one part of the hallway, and the group does a standoff with the guns. They only have one mag left each. I think Kenny has about 4 or 5. Lee has 5. Omid has 3. I think Krista has 4, and Ben has 2 if you save them. And they do this Mexican standoff until the guns are out. While they're out, they're surrounded. They have no way out. If you notice in episode 4, where they're with the attic door ladder, the attic, let's just put it that way, where the infected kid that looks like Duck, Lee opens it and they climb up. Lee drops his gun and just goes up. He doesn't go back for it because walkers are nearly caught up to him. Ben is saved. Ben gives Lee his gun, which I think was kind of noble of him, because he said he doesn't know how to use it. It's up by bullets on the freaking wall. And this comes from Kenny arguing at Lee whether he should be killed. Let's just put it that way. But before they have the argument, this turns on Lee's infected arm again. If you cut it off, he just feels a bit dizzy and feel a bit hot. It stays on, he passes out. And he wakes up with Clementine on the radio saying that she's in the Marsh Hotel, that where her parents were held, and she gets hanged up by the mysterious guy coming to her. And then Lee and Kenny have this big argument on whether Kenny should kill Lee, get Clementine with or without him. At this point, you can interact with a statue that is in the attic, so the player can pick it up and just throw it at Kenny. But if you don't grab it in time, Kenny picks it up, stares at Lee for it, but he throws it behind him, and it smashes through a wall. Mead, on the other hand, decides to make a joke, because the statue's face is broken. Well, we all know Kenny likes to smash his heads. He's proven that in episode 2. At this point, they found a way out. So Kenny's basically there, bashing his way through. At this point, Lee, me and Krista talks about if Lee does die. Lee suggests for Clementine to either to go with Krista or Mead, or yes, Krista or Mead to look for a family for it. This also determines on Ben's fate. If Ben is alive, they talk about him. If he dies in episode 4, it stops there. At that point, Kenny gets tired of smashing the wall, so Omid goes to finish it off. At this point, Kenny finds alcohol in the box. He takes it, pops the cork, and starts drinking. At this point, Kenny talks to Krista about his life before they met Krista and Omid at the end of episode 3. Talk about Lily, Larry. Yes, basically about Lily and Larry, and it determines on if you side with Kenny or Lily at episode 2. Then you can either apologize if you side with Lily, or say always there for you, something like that, if you side with Kenny. At that point, Omid has broken through the walls there, and they go through. At this point, when they go through the wall, they find a couple on the bed, shot dead, commit suicide. Omid and Krista feel sorry for them. And I was a little bit upset when I seen this, because it looked a bit like I really don't want to go talking into that. At this point, Lee finds a way out. There's this ledge where you can just hang on, like I said, look down the alley, and it's about, I don't know, a centimeter away, just basically a jump to a roof. So Lee goes up first, down me, then Krista, and then when Kenny jumps over it starts to get loose. If you save Ben, when he goes to jump, boom, the ledge breaks, Ben falls into the alley, so Kenny goes down to save him, and Lee follows him. So while Kenny and Lee try to help him get all the stuff off him, they notice what happened to Ben. Ben, while he fell, he landed on the floor with part of a shirt pole sticking out of him. And at this point, they knew that Ben wasn't going to make it. With a dead couple, the man had the gun which Kenny picked up. I forgot to mention that. Put it in his pocket. At this point, walkers see Lee, Kenny, and Ben in the alley, and they surround him from both sides. This is where Kenny tells Lee to go, leave him. And they have the big argument. Lee says, "No, I am not leaving you." At this point, Kenny pushes him to the door where they came down from the ladder, closed the gate, locked the door, and just basically tells Lee that everything will be alright. Everything will be fine. At this point, walkers surround Kenny. Kenny fights off walkers. Ben is there shouting, saying to not let them take me. At this point, Kenny turns around, boom, shoots Ben in the head. And walkers surround Kenny, and Kenny became walker meal. Kenny made a sacrifice to save Lee, try to save Ben. So in episode 5, Ben does die along with Kenny. If you let Ben die in episode 4, they carry on walking on the roof, and they notice that there's a hole in the roof that they can easily jump down through, and they don't see any walkers in there. If you save Ben, and when Kenny made the sacrifice, you see a herd of walkers walking around in that room. If Kenny was still alive from the alley, Kenny shoved Lee when Lee had all his walkie-talkie, and Lee drops the walkie-talkie into the room. Kenny apologizes. They made a decision on who will go down. Krista volunteered and went straight down. Got the walkie-talkie. And the problem about this is she couldn't get back up. So Lee has went to find something to help her bring it back up. I think when I saw DSP's walkthrough, he picked up a pole. He put the pole into the room. Krista grabbed it. He was pulling him up, but Lee had slippy fingers, and the pole slid straight off, causing a big noise in the room. And then they realized that there was walkers in that room. Once again, this is where Kenny makes an ultimate sacrifice. He saves Christina. Krista gets out, and Kenny gets killed by walkers. So either way, Kenny does die in episode 5. At this point, this is where Krista tells Lee that they need to be safe from now on. In case if Lee doesn't make it, they will look after Clementine. Right. At this point, they come to a street where the Marsh Hotel is just round the corner, and they have to cross this border. Well, I think it's called Boys. It's a big sign that goes from one edge of the building to another. I'm just going to say a sign. This is where Lee decides that whether he should go first or them two, Christina or me, go first. the two walkthroughs that I've seen, DSP and Stage Master 15, they both decided that Lee will go first, which I think is the best decision that you make. So while Lee is crossing over, the sign snaps. Lee doesn't go down with it. The bit's still hanging out. He immediately grabs on it. And while he's there, he tells Christina and Omid that he will go straight through the herd of walkers in the streets. At this point, you can decide whether to tell me or Krista to head back to the train that they were in episode 3 and wait for them there, or find a boat and wait for the walkers. The two walkthroughs that I've seen, they both decide to tell Krista and Omid to head to the train and wait for them there. At this point, this also determines on Lee's infected arm. While Lee gets on the street, if Lee's arm is cut off, he just walks straight through the herd of walkers with the cleavage he got from the kitchen in the house. So he's basically chopping it off. Chop, chop, chop. If Lee had his infected arm, he'll step on a piece of glass, he'll pick up the sharp glass with the cleavage, and he just basically goes around walking through the herd of walkers doing Assassin's Creed 3 style, which I think is amazing. Stage Master had the arms cut off, so he just had the cleavage. DSP, he did have two, but he just went all the way through with the cleavage. He didn't use the glasses at all, which I was pretty disappointed in. At this point, Lee arrives at the Marsh Hotel. While he's in the hotel, I need to slow down. While he's in the hotel, he opens the door where he finds the mysterious man who is pointing a gun at Lee. You can either say hello to him or say, I'm going to kill you. Where is she? Where is Clementine? And just be silent. And it's another decision to whether surrender all your weapons or just put down a walkie-talkie. So you can basically lie to this guy. He knows that you'll be lying, so the thing about most of the people did surrender their weapons. People who didn't surrender their weapons, they're probably dead. At this point, Lee and this mysterious guy has a conversation, and what I know is that he talked to Lee about what he's been doing in the zombie apocalypse from episode 1 to 5. And I thought, Lee clicks onto it, and he's like, how do you know what I've been doing? And he puts the walkie-talkie on the table. So basically Clementine has been telling this guy everything. And then while he's in the conversation carries on, he immediately goes down and talks in this bag, which I believe had a walk ahead of his wife, which I think is just messed up. And then Clementine comes out of the room and sees Lee, which the player can indicate to whether use a bottle, the cleavage. If you don't tell her to look at anything, she just basically walks up and punches him. At this point, Lee, this guy, fights. Right. In episode 3, if you told Clementine how to fire a weapon, she will help you near the end. Boom, headshot on the guy. If you haven't taught Clementine how to shoot a weapon, I think she'll just be there watching, and Lee will probably just beat the hell out of him. I don't know. I think everyone taught Clementine how to shoot a gun. This is zombie apocalypse. I would have done the same. At that point, Lee opens the door where there's a walker standing there, but the walker doesn't bite Lee because he's covered in all the walker blood that he killed getting into the marsh house. At this point, the walker can smell Clementine, so he starts walking. Lee says, No way. First of all, on the floor, bang, headshot.